Okay.
But I typically keep a copy as well since I record it through WebEx and then post it. So if for whatever reason you weren't able to find it on YouTube, I could probably get you a copy as well.
Okay.
Trevor, is it important to know who is call-in user 2 and caller user 3 to have them on the record, or do we just continue on with the meeting not knowing who they are?
If they're potentially voting members, I think it'd be good to know who they are. But I don't think it's essential to, I don't think we have to know who they are.
Otherwise, it's a public meeting.
Yeah, it's a public meeting, so.
Okay. Do we have any members of the press here at this time that would like to say hello?
Just one thing. This is David Smoke. Just one thing. The executive order that we're under now requires that anybody that may be on the phone speaking that's not on video would need to state their name each time they began speaking. That way we clearly know who is speaking for the meeting. So just a protocol thing for everybody that may have your video off or maybe on a telephone call. Just make sure you state who you are before you start speaking.
Thank you, David, for clarifying that. Okay, so back to the approval of minutes. Did everybody have an opportunity to look over our September 17th minutes? Does anybody would like to make a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved. Mayor Williams, so moved.
I'll second. This is Louise Pavlin. I'm going to put my video on as soon as I figure out how to turn my camera around.
I had the same issue this morning. Don't worry about it. Okay, so I guess I have to name everybody again. I have a second on the motion. So I have, oh, did James Nixon? Jim, did you join our meeting? No. Okay, I thought I saw him. Sorry. Okay, Kevin Morrison.
Aye.
Tony Cox.
To abstain. I left the meeting early.
Okay. Luis Pablo made a second. Jeremy Kendrick.
I approve.
Darren Talent. He's not here. That's right. Mayor Williams, you made the motion. Stephen Kaprinsky.
I do not vote.
Okay. So all in favor? Aye with the voting. And are there any opposed?
Well, Candace, you just did the roll call, so that's the vote. Is the roll call.
And that's on the record.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we got it. Mayor Williams, we got a quorum.
We need 50%. And with David Smoke, we have 50%. He's just not a voting member. That's all.
He's a member, though.
Correct.
So
we
how
can
many members do you have now on the board?
Well, 10, and then I will talk about David Purvis here in a few minutes. So.
Okay. Yeah, you've got 6 voting members there right now, so you should be fine.
Correct.
Okay. Moving on to financials. I know that Steve and I talked about it a little bit at length, and we'll get more into that at the restaurant the other day. I know he and I sat down and went over these financials. Did everybody have an opportunity to look over them? And did anybody have any concerns or questions for the period end?
Yeah, this is Kevin. Just one question. The event rentals from October 15th, what was that for?
That was for the Farragut Fall Festival.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
I will do the report. I talked with David Purvis yesterday. David wants everybody on the board and all concerned members to be aware that he is under hospice care right now. And he's at home. He was in good spirits yesterday. And really, it's a dire situation overall, but he's a trooper. He's an amazing man. He has asked me to inform the board that he will not be attending any further meetings of any kind, and that it would be appropriate to go ahead and start the procedures to replace him as treasurer and to look for new board member replacement. And I agreed I would bring this forward today at the board meeting. And I'm only doing this now so that he didn't want to take up a lot of the board meeting with his situation. And I said that we, would find the time to do it properly. But overall, our finances are good considering that we have no events of any consequence moving forward until the new year. And we'll discuss of that in my report. Currently, we have $35,217 on hand, cash on hand today. And if you look through the year-to-date activity, we're losing a little bit of money, about $9,000 to the red. But over the entire COVID year, and with a little bit of activity that we've had, we've raised about $28,000 in sponsorship and booth fees for those activities. And of course, with the town's support, which represents twice as much of that, we're in a really fine situation going into the new year. However, events, and especially events that have some sort of fundraising ability, we'll need to look at hard into 2021. But be it rest assured that we've got plenty in the bank to move forward into 2021 and continue the Shop Farragut for the Holidays program.
Does anybody have any other questions or concerns about the financials that were provided?
And then, sorry, this is Kevin again. Just clarifying question. So the 35,000, was that maybe the September statement? What I'm looking at looks like it's 23,000 with the 13,000 loss in.
Correct. I said cash on hand today. The last October report that you have, that does not reflect the third quarter, or I guess that'd be first quarter for the town. Our recent grant payment from the town. So that's the difference between that 22 that you see on your report and the 35 that I reported as cash on hand.
Got it. Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Mayor Williams, motion to accept financials.
Kevin Morrison, all second.
Okay, so I've got Kevin Morrison as the second. Tony Cox, are you back in the meeting?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. I'll vote to approve, yes.
Okay. Louise Pavlin,
Yes.
Jeremy Kendrick,
Yes, I approve.
and Mayor Williams brought the motion to the floor. So we've accepted our approval of financials. Next, we're on to the content committee with Tony. Do you have an update on our Instagram social media?
I have update for our Facebook and Twitter for October 1 through October 31. Combined, Shop Farragut and Taste of Farragut had 29 total posts and a reach of 1,679 persons with 157 engagements. Twitter during that same time period had 36 tweets and 1,898 total impressions, 1 profile visit, 1 mention, and 5 new followers. October without any real events going on, and I believe October is also Steve's annual vacation time period. Wasn't very active at all. But again, events seem to be the thing that drive our social activity. Without the events of being able to, have the promotions and the sharing of new ribbon cuttings, business openings, even from events where chamber networking socials are attended, the social side of what we do declines each and every time. I think that's been kind of the trend for this year. I do anticipate that there will be an increase in activity as we start getting to the point where we're doing more and more promotion of Shop Farragut for the holidays. I believe our November numbers will reflect that, as well as moving into January, that the promotion of the Health and Wellness Expo will be a driving force during the month of December as well. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Tony. We do have some events that we're getting ready to discuss in the director's report, so I expect Instagram and Facebook to pick up. Steve, would you like to start with the summary of the Farragut Fall Festival?
Certainly. I know a few of you attended, and hope you enjoyed it. It seemed about just around 7,000 people enjoyed it. That day we had beautiful weather. We had more vendors than we've ever had at any event. And all of the participants seemed to really enjoy it. I know Candace doubled her take on the beverage side of things there that day. And frankly, as a combination event with the aspects of Music Fest and aspects of the Taste of Farragut, it got close to breaking even. I'm kind of surprised that we were able to accumulate enough sponsorship and vendor fees to keep it within reach. Because putting on any of these events is a costly affair, especially that time of year when you need tents and other precautions to go along with it all. Many of the vendors and many of the local participants would love to have us repeat this event again. So I just bring that up when the time comes. Any questions? Yeah.
This is Louise. I have a question. If we are going to do that again, we may wish to look at a different name because it kind of coincides with the Farragut Primary School. They have a fall festival, and we don't need to create confusion. It's just something that we may need to think about. So just putting that 2 cents in there.
Okay.
And another thing that we were discussing, Steve and I, the other day at the restaurant was location.
Until we know how the progress goes with the Biddle Farm, I guess we'll.
Well, we also have Mayor Ralph McGill Plaza that will be able to host events. And was really actually built, that lawn was built for that purpose. So we'll have opportunities. I'm not sure how soon McPhee Park will be available, but that'll have a nice big lawn. And of course, depending upon what happens with this town center, we'll have a nice big village green there. Of course, I don't know what the time frame for that would be either. So there's opportunities in the future to explore. So.
Will the old house that's being redone, the McGill house, is that considered state or county property, and that alcohol will not be able to be served at that event, so it won't be able to be that kind of a gathering?
It's a Russell house.
No, Candace, this is David. That's a town-owned property. That's the town of Farragut's property. So it'd just be whatever our rules and regulations are. I think we do allow, as part of our ordinance process, we do allow alcohol to be served there, pending getting the right permits in place. So that shouldn't be a problem in the future.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's good to know.
I believe that's part of the concept for the community center too. And it's not treated the same as the other parks are. Okay. No other questions. I'll move into the Shop Farragut for the Holidays campaign. That is taking off very well right now. We have closing in about 3 dozen businesses that are participating in one fashion or another. We've got some ads going out already. Your new West Knox Lifestyles magazine. I believe Farragut Life magazine will be coming out shortly. They all have color ads in them. Tony and I are working on the Santa Shops Farragut insert in the December issue of the Farragut Press. That's going on. I've secured 3 weeks of advertising with Pete Michaels Traffic. That's one of our biggest ways of getting the word out on Shop Farragut. We get more response from when Pete Michaels tells everybody to come over to Farragut, so that's going to be nice. I've also added a Shop Farragut commercial for TDS subscribers on the Viacom Media team there. We'll get about, for $790, we get about 6,000 impressions on cable TV. So over a month of shopping time. The activity has already begun on Facebook and Twitter, and it seems to be growing a little bit. I've also visited some of our new businesses, Admiral Nutrition and the Dos Agaves restaurant and that, and got them up to speed on some of the things. Did find out that there is a small part of Turkey Creek around Publix and Zaxby's that is not part of the Turkey Creek covenants, and they're allowed to have signage there. So this is the first that Zaxby's in many years will have a sign out in front during the campaign. So Shop Farragut for the Holidays seems to be going well, and hope everybody will shop small too on the November 28th. Been pushing that out there. In fact, I gave some shopping bags to both Dos Agaves for carryout and Clean Eats for their meal plans. These are shop small bags that they, as part of that program, they give me to get out into the public.
Steve, I have a bunch of shop small stuff, like the door the doormats and bags that have been sitting in my storage. I just discovered the other day. Can I bring those to you? I mean, I know they're probably marketed from a few years ago, but still would be useful.
Sure, I'll take them off your hands.
Okay.
That's great. Just leave them over at the town hall and I'll stop by.
I'll do that.
Or the shop. I'm going to stop by your place too. So.
I'll leave them at town hall. I'm never at, I'm at Anytime Fitness at like 7 in the morning. I don't think you want to be there that early.
Well, I can be.
Okay.
Any other questions about? I will be putting our generic signs up Friday morning. And David, have you thought about the corner of Campbell Station and Kingston Pike for a Shop Farragut sign?
For one of the small ones that you typically put up?
Yeah, the temporary signs.
Yeah, don't you usually go to the board and just request to be able to put those in the rights of way?
They grandfathered me in. I don't have to do the temporary sign thing with that.
Okay. Yeah, so
But
you should be fine.
Okay. Well, I know you got a new sprinkler system over there at the.
No big poles are to go in the ground out there, and hopefully you come talk to Bud and figure out where everything's at, and he can maybe help you out some.
Okay. Well, that's the question there. That's the.
Yeah.
I know where to put them, except that's new ground over there. So.
Good thinking, Steve.
Okay. All right, I'm ready to move on. Any other questions? If not, I'd like to.
Steve, I have one question. I know it's probably in my email. What are the dates for the when does it begin? When does it end?
Shop Farragut for the holidays?
Yeah.
It starts this Friday. Signs will start going up around town this Friday, and it goes through January 2nd.
Okay.
Which ends up being January 4th for some of the signs because of the way the weekend falls.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I want to ask the board about moving forward with the second Health and Wellness Expo for January 9th. I want to see how they feel about having an event where will just be coming off the governor's December 31st extension of the COVID guideline stuff. And if January 9 is going to give us enough breathing room to get an audience to come out. I have not made a big push to get vendors yet until we had this meeting today. And I do know some businesses would like us to do that, but I originally had 40 businesses at the first one. And then by the time we were able to put it on in August, we had 26. And ended up with a final count of about 300, 350 people that attended under the COVID guidelines in August. And with the second wave approaching and all that, I'm trying to get a handle on how much effort, how much energy should I be putting towards that at this time.
I'd like to
David, I'll just talk a little bit on that. I mean, from a hospital and Sonoma standpoint, we'll probably be similar to the same boat that happened in August. As you said, second wave, we actually have the highest in Knox County that we've ever had. So it's going to be a rough one coming across in January. As y'all know, respiratory is still very bad at that time. I will take that up with the marketing group. That's kind of who decides on some of these events. But I will say, just from a first pass, there would be cause for concern and our ability to participate in that event.
I'm going to hop in here, and I'm very concerned. We're seeing the numbers skyrocket, and we're hitting flu season. And you see all across the United States, they're starting to limit gathering sizes. My inclination is we're not going to have a lot of participation. If you're starting to push that now with these numbers now, because you need people committing now, and it's just not looking pretty. I would be comfortable with us maybe postponing this or just pushing it off until the following year when we've finally got some relief from the pressures of COVID. But that's my personal point of view.
Anybody else want to weigh in?
Same
Stephen,
with you and I.
I'll have one thing to say. The governor's order will expire on the 27th, by the way.
Of December?
Yeah, midnight. So it's instead of the
31st.
just for clarity.
Okay.
So this is Tony chiming in. Just a general thought here. I mean, realistically, at this moment, we're 7 weeks away. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is it 7 weeks away? And 7 weeks is a long time. And we've seen things go up and we've seen things go down. And I've seen I've made a lot of mistakes this year in my own business because of indecisiveness, trying to plan around a virus that doesn't care anything about my time. I've made a commitment to our staff that the indecisiveness stops. And realistically feel like if we have anywhere in our mind, in our thought process right now that this could be a success, then we need to go gung-ho for it and move forward. I don't believe there was a lot of cost involved in the last one that we did. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's minimal cost, mainly because we do not rent the facilities. That we get use of the 2 rooms once a year by the town of Farragut in their generosity. And all we have is tables, chairs, and some linens and pipe and drape. So it's not that expensive to put on. However, with 26 vendors, and not all of them were happy, and a lot of them left early because the crowds weren't there in August. I'm not sure any of them are going to hurry right back if the COVID situation is the same. I do not personally have as much enthusiasm or seen enthusiasm other than one vendor that from the previous one that is ready to go. So I just think it's the timing. I think the event is great, but I think January 9th is too close right after the holidays and too close to the shutdowns that are taking place.
So are you looking at, this is Tony again. So are you looking at today being a decision making, yes, it's going to happen, no, it's not going to happen? Is that what you're asking for?
Yes, sir.
To me, it sounds like you're pretty, your thought process is that if it continues on, it will be an unsuccessful event. Would that be a correct assumption?
I don't think it's unsuccessful in how you want to put it, but it'd be disappointing. I don't think that we'll get the numbers of attendance, and I don't think even though I could socially distance and put, another 30, put 30 vendors in the 2 rooms, none of them will be happy with the numbers that'll come out. So I don't want to, I want to be put in a position where it could be successful on everything, financially and in numbers of attendance.
Steve, can I add something? We, Anytime Fitness participated in this. And of course, this wasn't, we didn't get any members from this. So that was Estella's Saturday. And certainly she would be thinking twice about doing it again in January as a vendor. And if we burn our vendors doing this event, the next time it does come up, and if we've done it twice and not had a successful event, they get worn out. And I say, that hasn't been, historically, that hasn't been a very successful event for us as a small business. So we're not going to bother spending more time on it. If we can potentially push this to the spring or and have an outdoor event, we may have a better showing. But when, like what you said, it's one thing to get vendors, but if these vendors aren't finding success and they've done it twice and they've not seen anything come of it, they're not going to be willing to sign up when it actually can be a successful event. So we need to be tread cautiously with our small businesses as well.
And another point that Steve was making, and Tony, this goes back for something for you to consider. We only get from the town of Farragut for the Farragut Community Center the 2 rooms once per year. Anytime that we use it going forward after we've already used that time that they have very generously given to us, we have to pay for it. So events going forward, if we wanted to do a bridal show that we're getting ready to talk about in the spring or summer, or we did want to do a health and wellness expo later on at that time, if we take this time in January, we will have to pay. So the health and wellness expo, if we did another one in the fall or summer or fall, then it's going to be more expensive for us, even though it's kind of cheap right now because we get that space for free. Once we use it, it's gone. So my point to Steve was, if the Farragut Business Alliance is to help Farragut businesses and the entire Farragut community, and we are given that time, 2 rooms once a year, I think we need to be strategic when we use that, because now we've got other areas that we can do outdoor events. And I think a health and wellness center or a health and wellness expo, if we were to do something like that at one of our parks where the vendors were able to sit up and we did some kind of marathon or, biking expo, or we did something else with it that would bring all health and wellness, not just gyms, not just Echelon Bike, but the people that run and, Elliott Boots with the outdoor kayak stuff. I mean, we could really do a cool health and wellness expo at one of our parks during the summer. And I think that would be more advantageous for our vendors. That's just my thought.
Tony again. I wasn't advocating for it or advocating against it. I just don't want to go to us having a small core committee, going through and weighing it out. I think if we're going to make a decision, we just make the decision today based on Steve's feedback or comments and Louise's comments. I would be happy to make a recommendation of canceling the event in January. I would not in the form of a motion, based on Louise's past comments, and also being involved in the advertising side of things for the past 30 years. That January time period is extremely important as far as the prime time for folks to sign up for gym memberships and for bettering themselves. I think the January time is the great time for us to do it. I don't think that I would like to see a spring event. I think if we say right now that we would just make it into a spring event for 2021, realistically, the odds are is that we will be in a meeting prior to the spring of 21 event having the same type of conversation right that we're having right now. So if we're looking for a motion to cancel the event and schedule it for January 2022, then I'll make that in the form of a motion.
I would second that motion, Mayor Williams.
And can I add, I'll add to that. I agree with that. Tony, you're right about January. I'm wondering, and this is just something I'm throwing out there in light of this, if we could run an ad in early January with the listing of all of our fitness facilities, because we have quite a few of them in the town of Farragut. An ad by the FBA with the money that we would have spent on this, because it's minimal. I know that it's minimal, but it is money we could have spent. We could do it like a small ad or a couple of weeks ad, Farragut Press to give a handout to lend some support to our fitness facilities, because you're correct. This is when they're going to be pushing their membership, and we're all struggling with social distancing and cleaning and making sure that we're keeping our members safe. And we'd like to keep our doors open. We need members to do that. So maybe that's something we could do in exchange for not having this. That's just an idea.
Mayor Williams, I've got something to add to that, okay? I don't think this would be an issue. David, you can tell me if it is, but I think when we do run those ads, we also have a free time for all the fitness locations, as far as a small sign that would let people know that that's what's going on and this is the location as they drive by it.
Yeah, we typically have at the community center, a sign we put out for any kind of events that we do for a few days before they arrive. So it's something we can certainly talk about and work with Steve on for any future events he has out there.
During COVID, I have been running more generic Shop Farragut type ads everywhere. In fact, it was 2 months ago that I began the monthly insert into the West Knoxville Lifestyle magazine, where Shop Farragut is just put out there. And Shop Farragut for the holidays is coming out this month and will be in December also. So I don't have any, I like doing that. I like just keep drilling the Shop Farragut. And early on during that March, April time period is when I started that relationship with Pete Michaels. And I know a few of you heard his traffic reports, and that seemed to have a little boost. And I heard back from merchants here in town that they enjoyed that. They like to hear that quite a bit. So we could do a hashtag Farragut Fit type of campaign. Certainly in lieu of the expo for this year.
Guys, this is Jeremy Kendrick. I just wanted to say that I understand what Louise and Tony are saying, and I agree with that. But you guys also brought up a idea concerning a race or a run, which could be a separate event, and just wanted you to know that that's something that I think is a good idea as well.
We have participated with the Knoxville Track Club in the past. I'm not one to put a race together, but I could certainly work with a partner on that and make something happen at some point. But it's been a few years, but in October there was a Farragut half marathon, which could be brought back.
Mayor,
Yes, I remember that event. So we had a motion to cancel the event. Do you want me to do a voting record for the? Okay.
It's a postponement.
Oh, yeah, but we're not doing it January 2021. Fair statement? Okay.
Yeah, Candace, you have to do a roll call vote for each person.
Okay.
Just to go back on that, this is Tony again. just to go back on that, the motion that I laid out there was that we cancel the Health and Fitness Expo for January 2021 and go ahead and plan on it being a January 22 event. So I wanted to make sure that we got it on the calendar for 2022.
Okay. Does anybody have any concerns, or are we good with that? Okay, Kevin Morrison? Is he not, Kevin?
Yes, Bruce, sorry, I left, couldn't get off mute.
That's okay. Are you in favor? Is that yes for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Louise Pavlin?
I'm back. I just got yanked out of that meeting. My computer is shut down, so I have no idea what we're voting on. Can someone tell me what the motion is?
The motion is to postpone the Farragut Health and Wellness Expo that is currently January 9th, 2021 to a date in January of 2022.
I approve.
Jeremy Kendrick?
I approve.
Mayor Williams? You brought it, I believe. Second it.
I second it, yeah.
Okay. So that takes care of the Health and Wellness Expo. On to the Farragut Bridal Fair.
Yes. In the back of my mind, I've always had the workings of a bridal fair, especially after Lace and Glam moved into the West End Center almost a year and a half, 2 years ago. And talking with several people, and including John Volpe from Abuelo's restaurant, who's interested in, he was moving this forward, trying to move this forward with the Farragut West Knoxville Chamber of Commerce. But I had told him that I had this plan in my events. We've held some meetings, and I brought Candace in recently to discuss the possibilities of pulling that off this spring. Excitement is starting to get around this idea. And in fact, I have a meeting scheduled with Terry Turner of All Occasion Party Rentals, who, of course, wedding stuff is very much in his line of work, and a potential sponsor for the event. And I've talked with Sue Stool about holding the weekend, Saturday, March 13th and Sunday, March 14th for this possible event, hoping that March will give us a buffer against any other COVID activity, and be a time that people are ready to get out. It would be at the community center. Saturday would be the day of setup, and then Sunday would be the event from 1 to 6 p.m. on that day. This is what Candace alluded to, is that to use our free use of the community center for this event, because the bridal fair booth fees and sponsorship fees, if we go off of what Sherry Hoven over at Lace and Glam tell me, what I've been charging at $100 is only 1/4 of what they normally charge for, like, the Pink Bride and some of the other bridal events that go on around here in the area. So there's a possibility to actually make this a fundraiser, and she has contacts for that. And between Candace and John, we have multiple contacts on caterers and other vendors for this event. Any questions?
I thought it was funny. I literally just got a few emails. I guess just the buzz of talking about Farragut having a bridal event at the restaurant. I just ask people all the time, hey, if something were coming up, would you guys be part of it? Or would you go? Or would you? Within probably 2 days, Steve, of you leaving the restaurant, I've already got 5 or 6 emails from photographers and a florist and a jeweler that all are asking me about the bridal event. And I'm like, well, I don't even know if we're having it yet. We don't even have a date or location. We're just kind of working on it. But also, the vendor fees for this need to be upwards of $200 or $300, $400. I mean, downtown Knoxville, some of those vendor tent fees for the caterers are pricey. So I definitely think we need to do some work on it to find out, number one, what would vendors be willing to pay to come to Farragut? And do you think we have the people in Farragut that would be interested in attending it? I did a bridal shower at the wine bar last year before COVID. It was in February. It was around Valentine's Day. And I had 10 vendors at the restaurant, and it was very, very light traffic. There were, and I didn't charge the vendors anything to come, but again, it was at the restaurant, and there were only probably 10 vendors that came, but the amount of 23 to 28 business professionals, ladies, of course, that came were maybe 100 all day. So, but again, I didn't market it. I let the person who was hosting it just use my restaurant to do whatever they wanted to do. I had no part of it at all. So I think we would have to spend some time, you and I, Steve, or anyone else on the board who's interested in doing something. I know we've got Michelle at JCPenney as well. But we can make this really successful, I think, but we have to get the word out to the youngers that we're doing something like this, because a lot of people in Farragut are already married with 2 or 3 kids.
I'll weigh in. I think that with some marketing, this would be a really good event. Most people have to go downtown to go to a bridal fair. And if they're out here in Hardin Valley, Cedar Bluff area, Farragut area, Southwest Knox County area, and they're looking, I mean, there's opportunities. We have, I don't know that many people are aware of our ability to host outdoor weddings in some of our parks. And so that'd be an opportunity for certainly the town of Farragut to demonstrate what we have. But local photographers that I think people are looking for, and florists, I think there's a really good opportunity here to, and the space to accommodate it. This could be a really good event.
I've already saved a primo spot for Farragut Town Parks and Rec, because I know that not only do you have indoor facilities, but outdoor facilities that Karen can market for a day. We've already identified a half dozen restaurants here in town and caterers, plus Rick Terry Jewelers. The one thing we don't have is a floral store here other than grocery stores. But there seems to be enough vendors, and Sherry Hoven from Lace and Glen, she can't be more excited about the whole idea, and has sat on, is willing to sit on the committee with me. So,
Mayor Williams, I went to one that my niece participated in, and they had hairdressers, nail salons, photographers, florists, clothing stores, restaurants, jewelry stores. It was a pretty good diverse group of vendors, and this one probably had about 600 attendees, and they had about 55 or 60 of the vendors. So it was, to me, it looked like a real success. So just my 2 cents.
Well, I feel I have enough time to get this started and move forward. And whether it's March coming up, we've got the date on hold right now at the community center. I do have a meeting with Terry coming up from All Occasion Party Rentals. I know Candace, John, and Sherry have all been part of the pre-planning to get to this point. I just needed this meeting to take place so I could pull the trigger on it. So hopefully middle of March is good enough to get a crowd out.
Steve, this is Tony again. You just answered it, so never mind. Thank you. I was looking for a date.
Mm-hmm. Sunday seemed to be the day to do it, mainly because the caterers and that want to do a really good job, and the restaurants and those folks are busy on Saturdays. So that's where the Sunday afternoon came into play. And Sherry also said that Sunday's a perfect day for families to come with their daughters to an event like this. I don't know if we need a motion to move forward. I just need a yes from the majority to get the ball rolling.
Well, we may as well make a motion. I move that we proceed with the Farragut Bridal Fair to be hosted in March.
Mayor Williams will second.
Okay, Kevin Morrison,
Yes, approved.
Tony Cox,
Yes.
Jeremy Kendrick.
Yes.
Okay, the motion has been approved and we will start planning. Do we need to set up a board at all, Steve, or are you and I gonna kind of coordinate getting all of this worked out, or how do you think you and I and John, we can just do this with us?
Yeah, I think Sherry wants to be part of it. Of course, you and I and John has already committed to it. If anyone else would like to join us, please let me know. I'll accept any and all help with this moving forward. I think I'm going to get some input from Terry Turner, and then just keep moving ahead. Sherry's supposed to supply me with a list of vendors that she already has worked with and knows. I believe John is already working on some additional caterers and food people. If any of you, any board members have any contacts, personal contacts with people like VG's Bakery and other people who do specialty baking and things, I mean, all those contacts would be necessary, and you don't have to sit on the committee, but funnel that information to me or help me sway them to get a booth and help with our bottom line too. So I think it can be a great event, and that time of year, people I think be done with winter and ready to move ahead. So.
Steve, I think, Mayor Williams, I think this needs to be open to all of West Knox County as far as the vendors.
Well, we certainly could not identify enough of any one given service provider all in Farragut. So we'll definitely try to get our Farragut vendors first. And then, like I said, we don't have a florist. We don't have certain things. We only have one bridal gown shop. So, but we'll give them the first crack at it and try to get them some of the prime locations first. So.
And that, Steve, I agree with that. That's what we do with the Food and Wine Festival. We allow our Farragut businesses first a crack at it, and then we open it up to everyone else. That seems to have worked well for our Taste of Farragut. So I appreciate that.
Well, there's many West Knoxville businesses that identify as Farragut businesses that they like to use our name quite a bit. So.
I found out that my veterinarian, who is closer to Pellissippi, considers itself a Farragut business. I'm like, you're not a Farragut business. But whatever.
Well, I ran over to a ribbon cutting for business this past week that swears they're in Farragut, but they're right next to the cutting edge classroom. They're in that plaza, which is not Farragut, on Snyder Road there, right off Snyder Road. So I understand.
Yeah, I think if we collect the sales tax from them, they're Farragut. If not, they're not.
Okay, the grand opening sign ordinance is the next topic, and I believe that's passed now on second reading. We had second reading, and I just want to let the board know that I've committed Shop Farragut to help get that sign done and organized, helping the town out a little bit so that we're always in touch with the new businesses that are opening in town, and that we will help them with a smaller but more elegant sign for all of the grand openings of the businesses. This was something I thought it was important for us to be part of, and it's not any extra work really for me, but it's a good thing for the town too, so that we get an organization and a good look for all of our new businesses. So. I think that's, I'll wrap that up and turn it over to David. So, unless there's any other questions.
Yeah, Steve, I had one. I like the idea of the bike expo. I think that's something small that we could get the bike shops involved with, and even Candace and maybe other vendors. That would be something that would be good to have at the Mayor Ralph McGill Plaza. For the folks that's got bicycles that won't come out, and then the vendors that would want to set up. Just a thought.
Okay.
I love the idea of doing an outdoor with some of our vendors between our parks and our bike trails. Even after talking to that, being a part of that Brazilian meeting the other day from that gentleman and lady that were looking at coming here, I didn't realize that Farragut was so popular and known for their bike trails. That was new to me. I mean, I see them all the time, but I didn't know that. So hosting or doing something at one of our parks, Louise, I would love to talk with you and see if we can't get something just a fun to get people when they're out and at one of our new parks, just because that's really a huge draw for people that are moving to the area. At least that's what they're saying when they're at the restaurant meeting with their real estate agent.
Candace, I think you're working too hard. We need to get you out on the Greenway trails a little bit more, because we got a lot of them.
Mayor, again, one of my thoughts is we've got some woods that's over in the McPhee Park, and maybe down the road we would possibly be able to put bike trails in those woods, and that would be something that you'd like to talk to people about and see what kind of support you would have for that type of a addition to our to McPhee Park. So that's another thought.
Yeah. As long as they can bike to the pickle ball courts. So.
Yeah.
All right, David.
All right, you ready for me? I'll go ahead and get started. I talked to y'all last month and every month about our sales tax revenues, because that really gives us a good indication of kind of where the economy is around us, how the businesses here in Farragut are actually performing. How has the community kind of embraced getting back out and shopping and things like that again? We had around 8 straight months of negative returns over last year. So if you looked at the prior month to the year before, it was 8 straight months of negative returns. Well, finally, we had a positive return for September. It was a pretty good return. So it actually made the first 3 months of our fiscal year now, July, August, September, positive for the year over last year, which were non-COVID months. So that's a really positive trend. That's good news. We hopefully will continue to see that trending in that direction. But certainly as we're heading into the Christmas season, people shopping, we want to get obviously people out shopping safely. But hopefully even buying stuff from home, having it shipped here to Farragut would be good too. So anyway, just some encouraging news on that front. We have a couple of the big projects. I know we got a lot of projects going on around town, but a couple here prominently on the corner of Campbell Station, Kingston Pike deal with the Admiral's Corner, which is the food truck court and the tap room there. They're probably looking at a December open date. They don't have a definitive date yet, but they're getting closer and closer every day. I know they're working on that, and I'm sure they'd love to be open as soon as they can, but they're getting closer each and every day. So keep your fingers crossed that they'll have that up and running. But it's looking good. It's turning out well. And then the town's corner, we talked about a couple times already across the way there at the Campbell Station Inn, and that should be pretty much it's done. We just have to do a final walkthrough, and that should be ready to go. And we're getting it ready for Christmas. We've got Light the Park coming up here. We've got the whole month of Light the Park, and because we couldn't have the big event that we typically do every year, we've actually been able to get tourism money to expand the Light the Park for from the interstate all the way down to the Campbell Station Inn. So we're adding lights to the plaza there, the Ralph McGill Plaza, as well as the open grass area behind there. So we want people to get out and be able to walk kind of between the different things if they want to really check out all the different parks that we have. The community center also has some trees out there. So Bud McKelvey and his staff have worked really hard to try to make Christmas as festive as possible. They do every year, but they've gone a little extra this year, trying to give people a little bit more to be cheery about with the 2020 that we've been through. Couple of items tonight. We have the Municipal Planning Commission meeting. There is an item to add a couple of commercial buildings to the east of Dixie Lee Junction and the Dixie Lee Liquor Store on the south side of Kingston Pike. There's a piece of property there. The Myers brothers are going to be looking at adding 2 buildings around 5,000 to 6,500 square feet that could be used for office, most likely, or possibly retail. So that'll be on the agenda tonight. But the big item that we've been talking about since March of this year that's on the agenda tonight is some requests for land use plan amendments and rezoning for the Biddle Farms. They're looking at doing the town center at Biddle Farm. That's going to be on the agenda tonight. So again, just something that's been talked about a lot, but this is actually the first of different voting that would actually give the zoning put in place to make that project go forward, assuming that their site plan and everything else would down the road be approved and they would meet all the regulations that the town has. So anyway, that's on tonight's agenda. Again, there's a lot to be excited about with these numbers that we've seen from the sales tax standpoint. Of course, with COVID and the numbers that we see there, that's not encouraging. We're hoping that people will continue to be safe out there. But we certainly are glad to see that at least from that standpoint, it looks like some of the businesses at least had a push back in September for a little bit better numbers. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the FBA may have.
David, have you heard any more information about Topgolf? Everybody's asking me at the restaurant, and I keep telling them I haven't heard anything because I don't know.
Sure. Yes, they're you know, I don't know if y'all are familiar or have heard, they were bought out by Callaway Golf. So one of the things that during COVID they shut down, then they had the acquisition by Callaway Golf in the works. they wanted to wait until I think that was pretty much done, and that got completed just about a month ago. So Callaway now owns, I want to say, 86% of Topgolf. Now that that's complete, they are looking to move forward with the project north of the interstate. And assuming that everything goes smoothly, I would hope that for a springtime kind of getting started out there type of thing. So we have been in discussions with them. They've been very fruitful. They've pretty much done most of the work they need to when it comes from a plan standpoint, but we have not got anything turned in yet.
Thank you.
David, you might already mention the update on the Ingalls, Ingalls Center there.
Well, Mary, you should mention it since you're the one that reached out to the Ingalls guy and got things rolling a little bit. The Mayor Williams reached out to Ingalls Corporate, and we've had some difficulties. Obviously, everybody knows the Ingalls building has been renovated for about 9-10 months now. But there hasn't been any activity in there. Just a lot of factors with that. But really, what we need is somebody that would want to get people in there and want to try to market the facility and get as many vendors and new businesses in as possible. So the mayor was able to contact someone at corporate with Ingalls who was very, I think, helpful. Wants to try to get people in the building. And so if Steve, if you have anybody or any of you have anybody that's interested in moving in that building, we've got a new contact name and number now for that. And we would be happy to get that forwarded out to anyone to give them a call and let them know that they're interested.
His name is Randy Jamison. He is the Vice President of Operations for Properties. And so he's the top of the line as far as who you would go to. You wouldn't normally do that, but he was kind of disappointed that he hadn't seen any movement on that property, and he's very anxious to help anyone as far as negotiating a lease to get in there.
And I've reached out to some of the local real estate agencies that are out there, some of the bigger commercial brands. So hoping that they would be getting in and trying to communicate with him directly to get some of their clients in.
Mayor, have you had any update at all with the Steinmart's closure and some of the other kind of larger businesses that did not make it through COVID? Have you heard anything or anybody from any large, I saw an ad, or not an ad, but I saw a news article come across the other day that some of the Earth fairs are opening back up. And I didn't know, someone asked me, hey, do you think Earth Fair's coming back to Knoxville, or will they look at going into the old Ingalls building? And then someone else told me that Trader Joe's was looking at possibly coming into Farragut. Are these just rumors, or have you guys, either one of you, heard any major kind of health and wellness type trendy places coming to the Farragut area?
I think well, from back many months ago, the Trader Joe's thing was a rumor, and I think what it come down through the grapevine was that they still had lease time at their current location. That really felt that was supposedly something for the Swan Farm, but that was kind of just a rumor. But as far as Earth Fair, I've heard they're wanting to come back, but in a different type of setting. And of course, we know for sure that it would not be in the I doubt that it would go into the Ingalls Center, because that would be some type of competition, and we know for sure it would not go into the Village Green because of the competition there that would be with the anchor store that they've got there. So no, I guess really that's we heard a lot about what would be at the at our town center, and that's, I guess, pretty much common knowledge there. But other than that, I don't think there's anything else. But, well, and to expand on David's thing on the Callaway thing is, it looks like from what I was talking to one guy, the really link was that that they actually having Callaway that cleaned up all of the debt that Topgolf had from being shut down for a number of months, and also that they're looking at having Callaway clubs, Callaway pro shops, Callaway apparel, and maybe even give us an opportunity to do something with them as far as Farragut apparel used through the Callaway brand. So the opportunity for that is there. So anyway, it's a lot of exciting things ahead. We just have to let it run its course and hope that this COVID thing gives us some relief as far as people ready to move on opening new businesses. That's all I have.
That would be cool if Callaway sponsored the Farragut High School golf team, just saying.
Well, don't worry. When the time comes, we'll have Dr. Bartlett and Donald Dodgen involved in talking with them about that. So they've already said that the golf team will be able to practice at Topgolf. So that's something that was a pretty good offer. We need to take it one step further, maybe. Thanks.
Well, thank you for the update. Does anybody have any further questions with the businesses that are rumored to be and not and all that good stuff that's going on? Any thoughts or ideas? We good to move on?
This is Jim Nixon. Can you hear me?
Hi, Jim. Yes, I can hear you. Glad you could join us.
I've been with you all along. Nobody heard me when I said yes at the beginning. J.C. Penney, is Michelle there?
Unfortunately, Michelle sent me a message that she wasn't able to make it, and I don't know if she joined in later on. I don't see her.
Well, the Simon deal has been approved to acquire J.C. Penney stores and keep them open. And they have been more responsive to us as their landlord there at Turkey Creek, which is a Farragut store. And we believe they may eventually come out of the bankruptcy. They still have a short period of time to say whether they're going to continue with that store or not, but we believe from all indications that they will.
Very good.
That is wonderful news.
Great news.
Hey, Jim, I got a question for you. Maybe they could look at selling some of their parking lot for a profit, and we could get rid of that big parking lot. That would be a really good idea.
That idea has been on the table for a long time. We are not in control of that parking lot. That whole parking lot was leased to Penny's and was a requirement for them when we put them in there. So considering the back and forth, the financial condition of Penny's and some of the other issues that have come about, they were not able to utilize that area, and it's just sat there. So if we ever got it back, we would probably put something on it.
Well, I would love for someone to maybe have that conversation with them. It is a dead space, and as I've kind of grown in my planning commissioner role, big parking lots, paved surfaces really irritate me. And that one, just every time I drop by it, I think that is just a waste of space. So I appreciate your efforts.
100% agree with you. It is outside of our control. And right now, we really don't have somebody at Penny's that we can talk with, or the acquiring firm, Simon and Brookfield. all of that has to shake out first. There's still some dates that have to be done by the bankruptcy acquisition in December and early January before it becomes final. But it's looking to us like they're going to continue there as a J.C. Penney.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate the update.
You're welcome.
This is Trevor. I just wanted to put a plug in for myself real quick, just to remind everyone that in my role as the business liaison, I'd love to be able to get in touch with people in the early stages of planning to come to Farragut, even if they're just thinking about finding a location here. It's a great time for me to reach out and just introduce myself so that they know if they don't have anyone else to contact for questions about how things work here, they'll at least know my name and have my contact information so I can, get them started on thinking about coming to Farragut.
Thank you, Trevor. I know there's a lot of people moving into the area. I keep telling everybody with all of the new people that are looking at property here and looking at business here and looking at our lakes and meeting with real estate agents. A lot of them are bringing their own businesses. A lot of them are entrepreneurs. So it's actually really exciting to see what they're going to bring with them besides their family. Okay. We also, Steve, did you want to talk about that Rafael Dorosky, the Bendel Brazil meeting? Is that what you wanted to talk about here, or where are we at with that on the agenda?
Well, I put it on the agenda mainly because I think the board needs to be aware that we're spending some time with a request that came kind of an interesting way to the town of Farragut. It also included us as Farragut Business Alliance, in that a Brazilian entrepreneur and businessman has connections here in Knoxville through the University of Knoxville, a local realtor, Barbara Cullen, I think is her name, with Exit Realty. And then with one of our local businesses, it's a home run business that was a vendor at the last Health and Wellness Expo. Wanda Malhotra has a business, and she does specialty oils and products from Brazil, that she has Brazilian roots. He reached out to her, used her as a contact to get to me and to Trevor. Trevor was able to set up a meeting this past week, and he has a proposal which is needs a lot of fleshing out, but Trevor helped me out, and because I know you're drafting a response to his the meeting we had. So the concept, okay, there we go. The concept is about bringing tourism traffic here, both business and personal tourism from Brazil to the Knoxville area, and Farragut being a point of contact to begin these journeys. They have some working knowledge of the area, not very precise, but they've found that our bike paths and walking trails and parks and other things here were enough of a lure to get the ball rolling. And Trevor was able to put together a WebEx where we could talk with him. He's got contacts in, I'm not even sure what hometown. What is his hometown? I just know it's...
He's located out of a city in Brazil.
And
none of you would know where it is. It's sort of kind of close to Rio de Janeiro, but not really.
And his concept is to get use his contacts and an office of tourism down there to help funnel business and clients to this area, and to spend 4 days to a week doing business and also travel. Not all of it being business. And of course, it's a consultancy type of agreement, and a lot of other things have to be fleshed out, but it was a starting point, and I think the people that met on that meeting are still trying to wrap this thing around our head on how it would work. But he's looking to move his family to Farragut. Anything else, Trevor?
I've shared my screen. Hopefully everyone can see what I'm sharing here. Not to go into a lot of detail on this, but just so you can kind of see, sort of what he's kind of asking Farragut to do. I've talked with a little bit with Steve following the meeting, a little bit with Julie Blaylock from the chamber, a little bit with some other staff, just kind of first reactions to the meeting. I had looked at his proposal, and some of the things he's asking for, frankly, just aren't something that we are in a position to do. And I think a lot of the things he needs in a partner are sort of beyond the reach and the connections that Farragut may have. Certainly, I think we are in a great position to help him figure out how to spend his time when he wants to come to Farragut and see the area. But exactly what else we may do, I don't know. That's sort of to be seen. Of course, you can see here he's sort of wanting us to be an advocate for his project and help him basically gain enough investors into a pool of funds that would pay his projected project costs. So I don't think Farragut as a government agency or our tourism department is really the partner he's seeking, but it was a great first conversation. I made it clear kind of what we aren't in a position to do, but I think the idea of having people visit Farragut is great. And, they're planning to come visit sometime in January. I think that'll be an eye-opening experience for them to understand what Farragut really is in relationship to what is Knoxville and what is East Tennessee in general.
And his English is a lot better than my Portuguese. So.
Well, luckily I speak Portuguese and I understand it really well when people speak it. And there was only one time during that meeting where what Mr. Raphael said wasn't exactly communicated to the rest of the group, but mostly it was up and up.
I just wanted to put this on the agenda because we are spending some time trying to flush out if this is really something going forward or not. But it's good to know that even Brazil knows about Farragut, Tennessee. So.
I know we're running a little bit long. Go ahead, Louise. Was that you? No?
Not me.
Okay. I just want to do a shout out before we adjourn real quick. I also am part of the TVAC, the Tourism Visitor Advisory Committee. And sorry, my dog. See, say hi, everybody. Okay, move. We did a meeting on Tuesday, and I just wanted to show everybody, in case you haven't been able to see these yet. Karen and Carissa have done a fabulous, amazing job. I'm going to have these at the restaurant if anybody wants to come by and just take a look at them. I don't know, Mayor, if you've been able to see them yet, but we have a Farragut's quarterly rundown, which lays out pretty much every restaurant in our area that has live music, drink specials, food specials, things like that. And then they also developed our Visit Farragut Dining Guide, which lists every single restaurant in Farragut, front and back, and if they deliver, if they're take-in, dine-out, drive-through, if they have outdoor seating. This was so well planned and put together. I just want to give a shout out, even though Karen's not even in here in our meeting, but they've done a great job. And I know that we had talked about with the Business Alliance, we've talked about it. We haven't done it. We haven't planned it. We haven't started it. Like you said, David, I have way too much time on my hands. But we don't have a Farragut business guide. And they've been working on this for, I know COVID happened. We've all been home. We've been working, online, whatever. But these are in all of our hotels now because that committee knocked it out. And I know we're planning all these fun things and fun events for our community to let people know about our businesses, but we don't have a Farragut business guide to be able to give real estate agents, or I can have them at the restaurant for people that know our retail and know our small. I know we have plenty of tire stores, haha, but we have so many amazing things, and our parks and just kind of. And it doesn't need to be a book. I mean, they knocked this out in a brochure that's so well and nice and neat and put together that I think we should consider that for something to talk about on our next meeting, if we don't mind putting that on our agenda for the next meeting, which I don't have a date on here. So what is our next meeting currently scheduled, Steve? And if anybody has any other thoughts, and then we'll adjourn.
I put that down because the last time we met, this was the last that we had set our meetings for the year. This is our last meeting for this year that was scheduled. So it's up to the board now to decide whether to go back to the monthly meetings or to schedule one in the future year.
Well, if I'm looking at my calendar, I would have January 21st as a January meeting, or I would have February 18th as a February meeting. Does anybody feel it's, again, if we're planning a bridal event, I'm going to need everybody's support and input. If we're going to take off for the entire month of December, Steve and I work on that. I do think we need to meet in January at least. Does anybody have any other thoughts?
January sounds good.
Okay, then I'm going to go ahead, I'm sorry.
Meeting, we can schedule the rest of the meetings at the January meeting, which is what we did in the past. So. Okay.
So then I'm going to put down January 21st at 8:30. Another thing that I was telling Steve, and the mayor was at the meeting with me on Tuesday, and so was Trevor. I really would like to, I know COVID, and I understand all this online, whatever, but we were able to do our meeting at the community center. Is there not a way we can social distance and bring the meeting back to town hall, even if we sit in the other seating? I don't know about you guys, but I'm over these freaking online meetings, but that's just me.
Well, Candace, we had the elections here, and that really kind of disturbed our ability to have enough space here at town hall to spread people out. We do have those over with now, so the community room that we have would be large enough, I think, to handle that. It's just up to the FBA and when you're ready to meet back again. The governor's given you the opportunity to have these virtual meetings. So some committees are easier to have like in person. because you don't have, say, large crowds that come with your committees. Other committees are much more difficult because of the larger crowds that tend to show up for them. But we have space available here at Town Hall. Again, we just need to get it on the calendar if that's what you want to do.
Well,
Okay, I appreciate that, David. I would like to meet in person on January 21st at Town Hall at 8:30 a.m. Does anybody else have any concerns? I mean, again, COVID could outbreak and we could be a super spreader and it could all go to pot by December. So but I would like to tentatively put it on the calendar if that is available in person at Town Hall.
Candace, this is Jeremy Kendrick. I'm good with that.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any concerns or issues at this time?
Mayor, at this time, we can just have the virtual meetings for sure through the 27th of December. After that, we're not sure. So with us being more than one board member in the meeting, we probably need to look at that as a live meeting, whether it be at Town Hall or at the community center, because it would have to be, publicly noticed and all.
Right.
So.
I appreciate that, Mayor. Okay, well, if there's no other business, I guess we're adjourning.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.